Okay folks, and welcome back to variables part 2. Now, we've done text variables like this one here, you know I'm all about the base, but we haven't done number variables, and numbers can be just as good as variables, so let's try again with this, shall we? So, number variables, here we go. So, first, to make a number variable, very simple. Firstly, put a variable name. It's always good, by the way, to use descriptive variable names so we actually know what they should be containing. Whole number is a good variable name. If I wrote y equals 6.5, that's not so good because I haven't got a clue what y is. It's always better to try and write something a bit more descriptive. So mine's going to be decimal number 6.5. Okay? And now, again, just like the text, I can print them. So print whole number, print decimal number, and this should now print out quite happily. Bada bing, bada boom. 4 and 6.5. Lovely. We can even do maths with these. So let's just say print whole number plus decimal number. There we are. Nice, and again, let's press play and ta-da! 10.5. That is the maths. So we've got whole numbers with decimal numbers. In the course later, we're doing some more work on maths, but say I want to multiply them, put a star sign in there, and suddenly it's there. Sweet. 4 times 6.5 is 26. I didn't know that actually, but never mind. So, where do we go next then? So far, we have looked at all variables which we type in ourselves, but I want to let the user type in their own input. So how to make that happen? Well, firstly, let's just put in as a conversation. So the variable integer is going to be called name, because I want to find out what a person's name is and greet them. So name equals, and to get the user to type something in Python, the most basic format, you type input and then open brackets, open speech marks, what is your name? There we are, good question, which I knew the answer. Boom. Now, to use that data, to use this variable now, it's like any other text variable. So let's go print, then speech marks, greetings, and then to put two sets of variables in a set of brackets together, put a plus sign. So greetings plus name, then plus, and then speech marks again, and how are you? I'll just put a space here so it looks a bit more normal. And now if I run this program again, you should see it's going to say, what is your name? Well, I'm Mr. M. Greetings, Mr. M. How are you? Pretty sweet, huh? So, that's the basics. So, next, now, how do numbers do this? Well, again, we'll just change this slightly. So we're going to say number equals input, and we're going to say, what's your number? And then print lucky number, and then to add them in again, just put plus, and it assumes you're talking about the variable number, so it displays it right there. So now, if I run the program again, what's your number? My number's 17. Lucky number 17, it says. Hey, sweet, you think? Perfect. So, but that's the start of the numbers. But what happens if we want to do maths with the number that we create here? I'm going to make a new program here now. So the first one is going to be 1, two variables, 1 and 2, equals input, what, need speech marks there, almost forgot. What is your number, please? And then I'm just going to be very lazy and copy this over. It's a key part of the computing. So, what is your number, please? What is your number, please? So it'll ask me for two numbers. And now I want to put the two numbers in there together, so print, and I imagine you're thinking we need to do 1 plus 2, and this should print out the number. So firstly, there we are, what's your number please? Well, my first number is going to be, let's say 7, and my second number is 7 again as well. So this should produce a 14. 77. Slight problem. The problem here is that the computer assumes that any data from an input is actually text, and thus it treats it as text, not as numbers. So I can't add them together, can't do maths with them or anything else like that. To do this, we have to tell the computer that the values are actually numbers on this occasion, and we do this using something called casting. Now, we're going to say these are whole numbers or integers, ints for short. Okay, so to make it work, we simply type in here int, open brackets, then after the 1 close brackets, and then after the 2, int, open brackets, and int close brackets. And now, if I try this again, it might be a bit different. So I'm going to say 7 and 7, and we get 14, but otherwise it's 74. So, okay, you think, fair enough. But what happens if I want to type a decimal number, not a whole number, a decimal? So say I want to know what's pi squared. So 3.14, 3.14. What's going to happen now? Error, doesn't like it. You're doing something bad, it says. Why is it bad? Because integers are only for whole numbers, and decimal numbers have got their own term. They're called floats. If you want to know why we have two, ask me in class later, and I will happily tell you with a gruesome example. Now, float 1 and float 2. So, there we go. And hopefully now, if I delete the integers as well, or just comment them out, then hopefully this will now work. So, let's try again. What's pi squared? 3.14. 3.14. And the answer is 6.28. So, the computer can take the data, the decimal numbers, if they're called floats. Whole numbers are integers, decimals are floats. One last little thing to show you is what happens if I put integers into floats. Well, let's find out. I'm going to put 5 in there, and I'm going to put 5 in there. Should be 10. What comes out? 10.0, which is actually 10, so we're there. So guys, in today's lesson, we have talked about using numbers with Python. We have done a little bit of maths, and we have done inputs and casting of variables. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you soon.